Dear friends, please join me in welcoming the inspiring Dr. Mike Evans.
What an honor it is tonight to be here, especially with Israel's greatest Prime Minister. Which I dearly love this man, and I've had the privilege of knowing him for 40 years. And Ambassador David Friedman. I'm sure the Prime Minister will agree there's never been a U.S. ambassador like David Friedman in the State of Israel. Never. And Mayor Leon, my dear friend, and of course, Nitzan Hen, which he's been marvelous in helping us coordinate everything through the press office. What you're seeing here is the largest media center in the State of Israel, the highest technology. You have no comprehension what it'll do. These screens move, they move. What we want to do with this is we want to make this a gift to the State of Israel. If the foreign ministry needs to communicate, here, do it. If you need to communicate, the greatest communicator in the world is this Prime Minister. And we want this to be a tool for him to communicate with. I'm so thankful to all of you that have been here, but there's somebody that I never get to be with in an event like this, my beloved wife, Carolyn. So I want you to stand, Carolyn. Carolyn is totally selfless. And when I married her, I said, I have to be honest. There's another woman in my life. She said, what? I said, Israel. I love her so much. I have to be with her a lot. She said, honey, I will let you do that. But if she ever calls me on the phone, you are dead. Well, we have several great announcements. The first announcement is the Ambassador Institute. Many years ago, Mr. Prime Minister, you and I were at the King David Hotel. I remember it well because it was Shimon Peres's 80th birthday and Bill Clinton was playing the saxophone in Tel Aviv. And I said to you, how can I unify the evangelicals of the world? What do I need to do? You told me there in that room, and that was the inspiration for everything I have done. And I want to thank you, sir.
What did I say?
Oh, I'll tell you what you said. We can talk about that. What are we going to do at the Ambassador Institute? We are going to train 100,000 Christian ambassadors to be ambassadors in their own country for the State of Israel, to defend Israel's brand and to combat anti-Semitism. Now, the beautiful part about this is we're partnering with Blackboard. Blackboard is the largest platform in the world, serving Harvard, Yale, all the major universities. The vice president of Blackboard is here. It's a $2.3 billion company. Would you stand, please? Would you give him a hand? Using adaptive learning technology. So we'll train these wonderful Christian evangelicals so that they can fulfill what I am doing for the State of Israel. Secondly, we're creating FOZ, an online academy to train tens of millions of evangelicals. The power of the evangelical muscle is enormous. It represents almost 1 billion people. But no one ever harnessed it. And we're doing that here. We're creating the first evangelical think tank, the first evangelical research institute, so the State of Israel will know who they are and how they can contribute to the State of Israel. We're, of course, a social network campus and much more. So that's exciting for us. The second thing I want to announce is in our Friends of Zion Museum, we are going to build the Donald Trump exhibition. No president in American history has done more for the state of Israel than Donald Trump. And I can't say anything, so I didn't say anything. But don't be surprised if there is a surprise coming soon for Israel with him. You never know this guy. He's full of surprises. The Media Center is indeed a gift to Israel. You can use it, Ambassador Friedman. You can use it for any event you want for the foreign ministry, etc., because we are doing this all for Israel. It's all about Israel. He who defines the terms controls the debate. And we've allowed in the past the enemies of Israel to define the terms, but not anymore. The 21st century wars are first media wars, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. And anybody that doesn't understand that they're media wars is delusional. I talked to a Joint Chief of Staff and I said to him, help me understand, how do wars begin and end? He whispered in my ear and said, you don't have a recorder on? I said, no. He said, the media decides when they start, the media decides when they end. Most people don't understand the power of the media. But Israel is going to have a media platform, a muscle like it's never had, because 41% of the population of the world is under the age of 25. These are the millennials and centennials. These are the ones that are driving the protest in Lebanon and Chile, in Hong Kong and in Indonesia. And the internet has made dictators irrelevant and democracies unbearable. Because now you have family-owned corporations all over the globe called countries, trying to dumb down the youth of the world. But it's backfiring. It's not working. It's impossible to deceive the youth of the world because the fire within them is greater than the fire without. And for them, perception is reality. The Middle East problem is a problem of power, not politics. But the secular media takes pleasure in demonizing leaders with moral clarity, and especially authentic leaders. We've seen this with President Donald Trump. What portfolio is required by a global leader in the 21st century? It is not a leader who can be chosen to simply manage his country. It's way too complex. It takes a leader with the trust factor with global leaders. I've had the privilege of meeting leaders all over the Middle East and the world. And I know for sure who they trust. Donald Trump trusts Benjamin Netanyahu. Saudi Arabia trusts Benjamin Netanyahu. The Emirates trust him. Every time I meet with Sisi, he brings them up. How is he? So Abdullah said it. The trust factor is so important. Marvelous opportunities of a lifetime are right now. Shimon Peres was our first chairman. And people asked me why. You know, Shimon Peres, wasn't he to the left and you're to the right? I said, let me tell you something. I love that man. I love that man because I knew his mind and his heart. But we evangelicals are not to the right. We're not to the left. We're for the bird. The bird is Israel. We're for all of it. We're for all of it. And we're the ones that got President Trump elected and will do it again. And now you have an evangelical vice president, evangelical secretary of state. You have evangelical advisors. One of them has just flown in here from the White House with the president. That's on our team. This is an astonishing day. I want to say one word as I close. And it's not about me, it's about Israel. You have a situation right now where people are trying to move around with their power plays. But gentlemen, the state of Israel has the opportunity of a lifetime. And there's no guarantee you'll have it after November. There's no guarantee. The opportunity of a lifetime has to be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. And we evangelicals, we don't want Judea and Samaria sacrificed for pettiness. We don't want the security of the state of Israel sacrificed for pettiness. There's something even bigger that we are focusing on, even bigger than a great prime minister. It's called the state of Israel, the majestic state of Israel. That is not a banana republic. It's not a place. It's distinguished for the first time in history. This precious nation has the respect of virtually the entire world, with the exception of Iran and North Korea, with the exception of Syria. And that's such a compliment. I want to express gratitude because I know as a man the sacrifices a wife has to make. My wife's made enormous sacrifices for me in leadership. But Sarah, I don't know of any woman who's made more sacrifices than you. I don't know of any woman. When you married this man, you had no idea you were marrying the whole nation of Israel. You had no idea. But you were. And the price of changing the destiny of the world is unspeakable evil and betrayal. It's the price of admission. But it's why history records Churchill and Reagan, because they were willing to pay it with dignity. God bless you, Sarah Netanyahu. And by the way, I think I know a secret. It's called your birthday coming up. And my grandson, Ethan, has a gift for you. It's an honor, a great honor for me to introduce Prime Minister Netanyahu. I've had the privilege of being in the presence of great leaders with great minds and great skills. And there's nothing more valuable than a leader that's trusted. Nothing more valuable. And this, in my opinion, I've known them back to Begin's day, and this, in my opinion, is Israel's greatest. And I am so honored and privileged to invite you, sir, to speak.
This is a stone. Inscribed on the stone is Lebet HaTkiya Le'achriz, which means to the house of the blowing of the trumpet to announce. The trumpeting place inscription is an inscribed stone from the 1st century. This stone was found with a Hebrew inscription which had fallen from the southwestern corner of the Temple Mount by the Roman destruction. During the Second Temple period, the priests used the trumpet to communicate to the people. And today, the FOZ Media Center, as we speak, we're communicating by one touch of a button to 67 million people.